Time flies. I remember talking to you and you didn't have a kid.
I think it was like the week after, like you came on the podcast after she was born. I'm like, all right, I got to do an interview.
That's what it was. Yeah. You just had the baby. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, no, let me do a quick intro then. I think we could segue into that real nice. Welcome to Comics and Chronic, everybody. It's just Anthony and Cody here today, but we are joined for the second time by Michael Schwartz. He is one of my favorite comic book writers that have come out in the last few years. We talked to him last year when Armored was coming out for his first Kickstarter with issues 3 to 5, but now we got a nice hardcover collection for Armored that's on Kickstarter, at least for the next week at the recording of this episode, but we're going to make sure to get it out for you, Mike. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm a two-timer, I guess.
Yeah,
Two-timer, yeah.
For sure.
We don't have jackets for that yet, but yeah.
Yeah. I need a two-timer jacket. That's low. I should correct you. It's my 4th Kickstarter already.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's insane. Nice. So when I saw you, that was my 2nd. Yeah.
Okay, and then you did the half issue, right?
The half issue, yeah.
So you're like the Kickstarter king, I guess.
Hey, let me just say, I don't do any of it. I'm not like you, man, with Super Guy, right? Like Super Guy was all you. I'm very fortunate that I have Clover running my Kickstarters primarily. They run it for all, they work with a lot of big artists doing these Marvel Art of books, so they do it for them. Like David Mack, Alex Malev, David Nakayama. They have one going right now for Tyler Kirkham. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So I'm fortunate, but when we did the half issue, we did it through Wizards, the podcast I co-host, and man, I only had to ship out Canadian books, and that was a lot of work.
I'm right now in the shipping process. I was going to start doing it earlier, but I need more stuff to give to people. Like nothing, I'm waiting on I have them somewhere, like these little emblems that I'm sending to everybody. But the stress is already building up inside of me. I'm like, oh God.
Can I slide you like a $1 bill to get mine shipped out quick? Because I'm having mine shipped to a city in New York, and I'm going to be there in a few weeks. So.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about that. You're right. You told me about that too. Yeah, I'll make it happen. Yes, whether or not I have to resend you the extra thing, I'll make it happen. That's not for everybody. Just Mike. He's a special guy.
Yeah, just me. Everybody. Yeah.
But yeah, we're here to talk about the hardcover collection that you have on Kickstarter right now for Armored. I've said this a bunch of times online. I'll say it again here. I love Armored. It was one of my favorite comics to come out in 2024. And I tried to spread the word as much as possible. Cody read it. I'm so interested to hear what Cody thought about it too.
Oh man, I loved it. Mike, before I go into my some of my thoughts and stuff, do you mind if I partake? I mean, I know it's in the thing, but I haven't yet, and I was
please.
about to. Okay, sweet.
No.
We
have to.
Are you a toker, Mike?
Not too much anymore. Nice. I would say I've cut back quite a bit. Nice. But I'll throw a gummy in my mouth from time to time now.
Heck yeah. Yeah, no, I actually had a gummy right before this, a hash rosin gummy. I don't know, it's just one of those sleepy time gummies. Get me a little rest for the sickness,
I find those just keep me up. I don't know why.
Huh.
I'm ready to party.
Sometimes that happens. Yeah, sometimes that happens. But this has actual melatonin in it, so I'm like, all right.
Oh, okay. Maybe I need to try one of those.
Yeah.
I think that might be the key. I don't think the ones I've tried had.
Melatonin gives me weird dreams, though. Like, I'll have really vivid, weird dreams if I eat too much of that.
You want to know something crazy? I've never taken a melatonin.
Oh, you got it.
Really? Yeah, try it.
I've never had any issues with sleep in my life.
You're just the lucky one. You're the lucky one. Then.
I sleep. If I'm ready for bed, like if my body decides it's time to sleep, I'm sleeping no matter what.
Oh my God. I would kill for that.
And I have the same weird superstition with melatonin that I do honestly with Tums also. And I'm worried that if I start to take it, I'll need to take it. You know what I mean?
No one needs to take Tums that much though.
Dude, I loved Armored. Oh man, I didn't.
Okay.
I hadn't read it when you did the pod with Anthony a while back, but I read it for this and it was awesome. It was like It was just so good. It had a lot of like my favorite things. I'm kind of a Stranger Things hater. And just in the sense that, like, I think it started really strong, but like due to like the insanely long breaks between seasons and stuff like that, I just think the show lost a lot of its appeal. But I did love the first like season or two, especially. And I feel like this book has a lot of my favorite things, which in the sense is like more of like a high school like coming of age tale rather like with a fantasy background, you know what I mean? And I love that.
Well, I promise I'm going to tell you now, I'm not a huge fan of season 2 or 3 of Stranger Things, but I will make sure, you know, the next volume or next 5 issues will be better than Stranger Things season 2 and 3. How about that?
I honestly, the way this went, I fully believe it. I fully believe it. I loved this book. I mean, it's like I said, a coming of age tale, but the fantasy elements are really interesting. I loved Sir William. I loved that. It's like a fantasy book, and there are elements that you see in fantasy stories, but it's like a very unique take. Like you see, like there's a lot of twists on things that I've just simply not seen before, and I mean that in a high praise.
Cool. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I'm happy you both like it. Imagine if one of you didn't. This is garbage.
That's why Jake's not here. No.
Yeah, that's why. I hated this book. Worst book of 2024.
Oh, I will ask this just because Jake isn't here. Are you a fan of the book Wind?
I haven't read it.
Oh,
should I read it? Should I?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. Jake was talking at least like art wise and stuff like that. So it drew a lot of similarities.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. I definitely have to check it out now. Why is it? It's about a haunted suit of armor too, right? I hope
No, I don't think so. I've only read a little bit of it, but I don't know. Maybe I could just show you.
Is that the WYND book?
Yes, James Tynion, Michael Dial. I don't know how to say his name.
Oh, it's James Tynion. I didn't know that.
But it has like those, like it's much more of a fantasy book, this one, but it does have elements. Just flipping through it, I could see what Jake means. But the art style I want to stress for Armor 2 is so unique. That watercolor style by Ismael Hernandez, man, it's
blew my mind.
Yeah. I mean,
blew my mind.
And last year, I had only read just probably the first issue when we talked about it, and now seeing the whole story together, oh my God, like with the reds and the blues and just like how it affects the tone of what's happening. It's just unbelievable. Really good stuff art-wise.
Yeah, I agree. You should see what he's doing with issue 6. He's done issue 6. We're just in the lettering phase right now, but it's like all these yellows and golds, and he does a whole sequence in like sepia tones. Ooh. I think. We do you know how it ends, right? Like that final page, we introduce a new character who has armor, and a ghost that's haunting it. Well, we do a whole origin that's about, I think it's 5 pages, maybe 6-page origin story, and he paints the whole thing in sepia tones. So it's like there's no color, but it just comes to life. It's awesome. Yeah.
So is that something that's all his idea, or is that like something that you kind of pushed him to or inspired with like the way you were laying out those pages?
I don't remember. This happens a lot where like, we're working on another book right now. Like I wrote another book with my partner, Rachel Schaefer, and we're getting in the final pages. Like we wrote it probably 2 years ago, and we're on like, I think it's like a 165-page book.
Wow.
And we just got in pages like 150 to 160, and there'll be panels will be like, oh my God, this is so good, I can't believe she came up with that. And then we look at the script, it's like, oh man, we wrote that. We wrote it that way. So you know what, like I don't remember anymore. Like it's been so long since I wrote the script for issue 6 that I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes he comes up with stuff, sometimes I do. Like I'm doing a talk at a school tomorrow about writing comics and creating comic books, because a lot of kids are into graphic novels, right?
Yeah.
And Armored's this weird one where some kids are a bit too young for it, or they're just a bit too scared, but other kids could totally read it. Like it's totally fine for them. And I give them like a script page. And so I printed out a script page. And I was like, damn, this is like so different than what happened in issue 1. Like Ishmael totally, I had like a 6-panel script page and he drew it as, I think, 4 panels. And it's just like, I forgot that he just took it and did his own thing with it. You know, that's what I love about comics is there's like this collaboration and also just trust where you're just like, go for it, do it. You know, I see the pencils, I get to approve it and make changes, but no, I just tell him to go for it if it works.
I love that.
Hell yeah.
And you just touched on something too that I really like about the book where I think if I was in middle school and even high school, I would say I would love this even more. Like it would just feel more like, oh, this book was made for me. And again, after reading the first issue, I felt that way, but reading the entire first volume, it felt that way even more. We get to meet more of the kids his age in the book and, get more of like his life. Like Andy just seems like such a real character. Is there any inspiration from your own kids or your own life that Andy has, or is it more of like you're just really good at crafting dialogue and stories for younger readers, do you think?
I have no idea. It might be that I've been living in that age demo a bit. Like I really was like, I want a Stranger Things type book. Like every adult I knew watched Stranger Things, but then I would take my kids to a party and you'd see an 8-year-old at this kid's birthday party with a Stranger Things shirt on. I'd be like, have you seen the show? And they're like, yeah, old man, I've seen every episode, you know?
Oh, for sure. Kids, dude.
I believe it.
Yeah. So that was my goal. But as far as like, writing it for a particular age demo, I think it's just because I've written so many kids movies and a lot that haven't been made. That's what it's like working in the film industry or writing in the film industry is you just write so many movies that never get made. And I've written a lot of kids ones. So there was nothing in particular. It was just like, hey, this might be how I would talk as a kid or, I just knew what the character's arc was and I just ran with that.
Nice.
No, it works. It really, in highest compliment, it feels like I'm maybe 80s or 90s kids movie. I'm watching it as I'm reading it. Like it just I could see it as happening in that time period. I could see it as, like just the fact that a kid's being adopted. I don't know why, but that just feels like an 80s and 90s movie, that theme.
Exactly. Kids don't get adopted in the 2000s anymore, right? Like that doesn't feel like that happens.
It seems like it's a rare story element. Yeah, I don't know. But it really just like hits home that there's something about this too that feels like nostalgic, like it's a new book, but for me, like it feels like something, I don't know, that I could have grown up with. And I think that's hard to accomplish with a new thing, How
were you influenced in any way? Because I loved like the villain of this first arc. Yeah. Even pre-twist when it was, you were like not sure who the villain was, but like the dead Miles and when he possessed the parents, was that like the way they behaved when they were possessed? Was that influenced at all by like Coraline?
No, not at all. I am okay. So this is a weird thing. I had never seen Coraline, and then I wrote No Malone on Netflix, and one of the big comments you'd see on Twitter was, "Oh, No Malone's just a ripoff of Coraline." And the director I work with has never seen Coraline. It's just not a movie I watched for some reason. So saw it after the fact. And you know what? You're the first person to connect the dots of Armored to Coraline now. And I'm like, damn, am I accidentally copying Coraline?
No. Not in the slightest are you copying. I just think like
I'm joking,
the way with their eyes went black when they were possessed, and they were still like they were, if anything, like behaving almost like a more family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
but outside of that, nothing is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I have to say, okay, so that whole thing, like with Miles coming back, I always knew Miles would be basically the antagonist, and it's not really Miles. It's It is, if you, spoiler alert, but whatever. It is Sir William's old master is the one manipulating everything. It is this being that wants out. It wants control. It wants the armor. And so he's been manipulating people in town, like for the past few years. And this story keeps going, right? Like this is just like,
oh, you can tell.
Yeah, what I really wanted was this first book. So the first 5 issues is a story about Andy accepting his new parents. That's all I was like focused on, laser focused. Nice. And then I thought, what's the absolute worst thing you could throw at this character that has to accept his new parents? You know, their old dead child coming back and them liking him more than, you know, their new child. And to me, that was what I cared about. And and that's kind of where the story organically went as well. Nice. Even though I knew I had this crazy, it's insane. This story mapped out. It's absolutely insane. And I hope people, you know, buy this book because I want to keep telling more of the stories. It's not even about making money at this point. It's like, how can I make money to make the next issues? That's all I think about all day long. Like, how am I going to pay for issue 7, 8, 9 now?
Dude, well, I hope people definitely, I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast either. I genuinely, this is a great book. And I like that this first arc is a wrap up of that story that you were just telling that you said was your laser focus. But you definitely can tell that the seeds have been planted for this thing to go much deeper. And I love that. You know what I mean? It's like,
and one of the things that I keep planting, which is probably so annoying to people, I don't know if it's annoying, you guys tell me, is I keep hinting at what the ghost that, you know, Sir William, who's haunting the armor, what, you know, his history. There's so much story there that, like, I just hint at little things. Like, he was in this battle where he's, like, severely, that's where he gets his scar from. Like, did you, here's my question, too.
For sure. Definitely. You can tell, I mean, you can tell what Sir William, who the main antagonist is, all of these things. You can tell it's like going to come full circle, but you're breadcrumbing us just enough to like keep us hooked without like showing your hand. You know what I mean?
Okay. Cody really wants to say you're edging us because that's exactly what's happening. But you're doing it really well because I think that's, especially in comics, that's how you get someone coming back. It's like, well, what did happen to Sir William? You know, I want to know more. I love how you give us a little bit more in the half issue. Like, just the idea of the half issue, if we could talk about that a little more too. Like, it's just such a cool concept. The fact that you executed it and it was successful as a Kickstarter and it's out there in the world now. It goes perfectly with your Wizards podcast. How did you decide? Okay, I know you read a lot of comics, like single issues. I do that too. When you have a collected edition, it's different. But like, I don't know, maybe this is more recent when buying omnibuses and stuff. It just makes it easier. But like, even like I want to say 10 years ago or more, like a half issues would always pop up, or like 0 issues. And like, I would always have to look up, where does this take place in, you know, the continuity? Because maybe I wasn't reading it at the time. But like, how do you decide as a writer, and this is coming from my writer brain too, this very long-winded question, how do you decide like just how much information to put into the half issue? Because it does move the story along a little bit after the first volume, but not enough that like if I missed it, I would be completely lost. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to send it to Cody by any chance? Cody, did you read it or no?
The half issue?
No, I didn't even realize I had a PDF. Yeah.
Well, I can send you the PDF later so you guys can check it out. But
I would love that.
So it's really difficult. Like, to me, you know, I work in long form writing, so it's like always feature films. I've developed TV shows, but feature films is kind of like my bread and butter. That's where I get most of my work. So coming up with a 10-page story, because all of these, you know what's crazy is I actually have a stack of Wizard half issues beside me right now. Somebody just sent me, a buddy of mine, Dave, he sent me a ton of Wizard half issues.
Oh, nice.
There's tons of them here. And all of them were like 10 pages, I think. You know, they're really short. And then it's just bonus content. And so I was like, what am I going to do for 10 pages? That's not enough story time. So I knew, you know, issue 5 ends on a cliffhanger starting the next arc. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I can't like do something that takes place right after, because the next issue starts right where issue 5 left off. What the hell am I going to do? So I was like, I'm going to set this between basically after, he saves the day, he has defeated the villain. There's about a week or two. I might have to change it in the collected edition and just say a week has passed or something. But within that week, that's where this story takes place. So just before this new character appears, there's this story. And it's just like a fun, I just wanted something fun because we knew a lot of Wizard listeners, like the Wizards podcast listeners, may not have read Armored, but they would be totally into buying a half issue or checking out our half issue, because the book isn't just the 10-page story. There's also all the extra content that's like kind of paying homage to Wizard magazine.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And so I really had to think like, okay, this has to be just a self-contained story. That's all I cared about. And that's what we did. But I also was like, but if you've read Armored, I also want to give you some hints, more hints to Sir William and to the castle in particular, because that castle hasn't really been fully explored. And for anyone that hasn't read it, it's basically they accidentally break open the side of the castle and find this. It's basically 2 medieval soldiers that have been kind of sewn together in their like this zombie thing that they have to fight.
That's a cool design, yeah.
Yeah. And there's like a history as to why that's there. Like there's a lot of stuff that will be coming up in issues 6 through 10. My goal is to always push the story forward. Yeah. Always. I don't want any like filler. Never filler.
That's good.
Okay.
Wait, sorry. Before
you
go
ahead.
Ask that, so is the half issue in the hardcover collection?
So just the 10-page story.
Okay.
That is kind of like one of the bonuses of the collected edition is you're getting that 10-page story.
Nice.
But all of that extra Wizard bonus content, like, the casting call, all the fan art and stuff, that's strictly in the half issue, which I have like a few left, and Clover's offering it as part of some packages in the Kickstarter right now. So if anyone wants the half issue, you got to get it through the Kickstarter right now as an add-on.
And I highly recommend getting it. Seriously, it's one of the coolest extras or just anything that I've seen recently in comics. It's just like, again, the fact that you made it and executed it and actually made it a real thing is awesome.
Yeah.
So you're like a established screenwriter. What makes you keep on coming back to writing comics?
I just love the medium. I read more comics than I watch movies. That's the truth.
Nice.
When I made the decision to do Armored, it was like, how many? I was probably on my 10th screenplay that wasn't made. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I writing these movies for these producers? They own it. I can never share the screenplay with anybody, whether it's because it's based on a book or just because the idea, they came to me with the idea and they paid me. I just can't share these stories with anyone. And I was like, wait, I have like, hundreds of comics next to me here. I read like 5 to 6 a night. I should be writing a comic. That's what I love. But I also love movies, but that's what was the decision. I was like, I want people to actually see some of the stuff that I'm writing.
Nice.
So yeah, that's why. And I'm going to keep coming back. It's just, we'll see. It's an expensive, being an indie creator, Tony, you're an indie creator now. It's an expensive kind of, I don't want to call it a hobby because it's an artistic, venture.
Yeah, but it is expensive. But the fact that you could, I have tried to make I've made comedy sketches back in the day where I filmed it and edited it and stuff like that, which is just the smaller version of trying to make a movie, which I can never do, but always had the dream of doing. But yeah, because it was the impossibility of it was really budget and having the money to do it. So actually being able to make a comic, I could totally understand why you would go that route. But I would also ask, because you're so enmeshed in the movie world as well, movie and television, have you tried to do an Armored screenplay or something where it's adapted to a different sort of medium? Oh, I'm way, way too lazy to actually do that for free, Tony. No, in all seriousness, I've hit a point where probably
I don't know. To me, it's a comic. It's a comic first and foremost. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be successful as a comic. Obviously, if it were to get made into a movie, it would help the comic. And that would be the goal. It'd be like, that would be great. But I always see it as a comic. Like, I just, more than anything, want it to exist that way. If it never gets turned into a movie, that's great. A movie would be fun, or a TV series would be fun. But yeah, I think someone would have to actually like pay for it. I don't know if I have it in me to just write it. I just want to keep writing more of the story, more than anything. That's what I see. I just want, it's like laying bricks, right? I just got to keep going.
Yeah, no, I totally respect that for sure.
What are you reading right now, comic book wise?
Okay, I'm reading Absolute Batman.
Nice.
I'm reading Geiger, Redcoat, Rockefellers. I'm reading like all the Ghost Machine books. I'm all in on
isn't that Jeff Johns?
Jeff Johns, yeah. Anything I'll read by Jeff. I just picked up that new Black Panther book, the What's to Come or whatever. I forget what
I wanted to check that out. Yeah, the Marvel Knights one. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. What else am I reading? Death of Silver Surfer I just started picking up.
Nice.
Kind of reading the other Absolute titles, but slowly. I'm not as into it as Absolute Batman, I have to say. I'm all over, and I'm reading a ton of indie stuff right now. I think that's what I'm like really interested in, is all the indie books that are out. There's just so much. I'm trying to I'm sure there's other stuff, but it's what, my pull list. It's like I always go in there and I'm like, I got to cut back. Can you just like, let's cut it down to 2 titles. That's it. And then I come out and it's like back up to 10 and it's like,
I'm good at cut back is always famous last words in a comic shop.
Cutting back is actually adding. I feel like that's like the
and it's like a trick your brain plays on you. You're like, I won't put it on my pull list, so now I have to look for it. I have to get to the comic shop and make sure it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
It be like that sometimes. So I really liked in the half issue as well, the casting for Sir William, Jeremy Irons. That's perfect.
I have to give credit to Adam Pope of the Wizards podcast, because that was him. Tony, you've been on the Wizards podcast with us.
Yes, I have. That was a fun time.
Yeah, you guessed it on us with us. And that was totally Adam. Adam just ran with that. And I was like, these are great choices. Let's do it.
Oh, so would you have a different answer for Sir William?
I might. Yeah. But I think that's a really good call. I wanted somebody. Do you think he can play Goofy?
Jeremy Irons?
Like kind of. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of serious, right?
Yeah, I feel like I have seen him in something goofy recently, but maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, maybe Liam Neeson. I've worked with Liam Neeson in the past on The Nut Job. So.
Nice. And he's going to be in the Naked Gun. Yeah, he could definitely do Goofy.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what I liked about our last interview too. You just name drop like crazy celebrities, like or R.L. Stine, giving his thumbs up for the book is fucking awesome. No,
I've been fortunate to work with like some really cool people, like really, really cool people. I wish I knew them. I don't know them. They're not like my friends. Although maybe R.L. Stine will respond to me if I send him a message. That's the one guy I could probably get a response from.
That's a banger of a one guy.
Well, I just wrote another R.L. Stine movie. You're hearing it here. Yeah. Based on kind of a lesser known book of his called The First Day of School Forever.
Ooh,
it's about a kid reliving the worst first day of school of their entire life.
Like a Groundhog Day style?
It's like Groundhog Day. There's ghosts in it. There's a serial killer in it. It's kind of Happy Death Day, but throw in a ton of ghosts and other crazy things. Yeah.
Nice.
It's kind of like taking the whole Groundhog Day concept and just like throwing everything into it,
Nice.
It's crazy.
That sounds really fun. But see, like, again, it makes me think like you're just tapped into something for like the younger audience where you could think of like,
Yeah, and my next book is more for adults. So I'll be curious to know what people think about it. It's kind of has, comedy bent to it.
Nice.
There's a bit of romance maybe in there.
Ooh.
Tula Lotay does the cover.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the art, it's illustrated by Gaia Cardinali. And I think I mentioned it earlier. I co-wrote it with my partner, Rachel Schaefer. So
Yeah. And I think you were telling me about this last time where you said you were working on like a 150-page graphic novel. And I was like, oh my God.
yeah, it's 165 pages now. So it's
Nice. Okay.
expanded. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Excited. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So you're clearly, just like you can tell, even though we've mentioned a couple times that your stuff is like perfect for like a young adult age, there's so much horror in it. You know what I mean? There's like comedy and lightness and stuff, but there's like, it would be like, if I read this, if you could give this to a kid too young and scare the shit out of them. You know what I mean? Like, so what are some of like your big loves in horror?
For kids or for
just
adults?
in general, just for you.
Man.
Like, what are your big?
Okay, so like I
you love.
I think it came naturally to me to make this horror book that was for kids too, because my favorite movies are The Gate, Monster Squad, House. Like those are like three, Poltergeist.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
But then, I also really like movies like, The Exorcist, or a movie called Dead Girl, or Martyrs. Like I go there too. And I do have a horror movie that's coming out next year to festivals that I co-wrote with a director from Ottawa. So that is not for kids. I'm going to tell you now.
Nice. Well, can you tell us about it at all?
Yeah. It's a movie called Ivan, and it's basically about this father who's been unable to see his child, and he figures out a way to kill himself and put his soul or his mind into like an Alexa type device. And then he just starts manipulating his family from within their household. Like, he hasn't seen his kid, but that's how he gets himself into their house, and he just terrorizes them through this device, like possessing the daughter. The mother starts losing her mind. It's crazy. It's a total indie horror.
Nice. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I really like that concept.
So if you like indie horror, it's pretty cool. There's some good gore scenes in it and stuff. But yeah, we shot in Ottawa, Ontario. I'm looking forward to it's in VFX right now. So there's some VFX shots they're working on, and it's got to go through sound. And then, it'll be doing the festival thing next year, hopefully.
Oh man, I can't wait to see. I cannot wait. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like just thinking about it now and just rereading the comic earlier this week, are you a Deadman fan at all?
Like the character Deadman?
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhat. I don't know if I've gotten too into him though. Like, I don't know if I've really Boston Brand we're talking, right? Yeah. I don't know. Is there a particular like series I should read?
No, I mean, I probably only read him like in Justice League Dark or something like that, or whenever
that's
he pops
the same.
up.
Yeah, he's always popping up. I think of him in. I'm trying to think of what the book was I was just reading where he popped up. But yeah, he kind of pops up here and there, but never really have gotten into him. But he does show up in the half issue. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about?
I think so. Maybe that's even why I'm bringing it up, and then I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Like,
so we do. So one of the things Wizard Magazine does or did was they would pit like two characters against each other and then like write up, who would win. And so we have Sir William, our ghost, fighting in quotations, Deadman, Ghost from Marvel, and then Ghost from Dark Horse.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you see it there, right?
Yeah. Standing. Yeah.
Unofficial appearance of Deadman.
Nice.
And there's Todd McFarlane in there too. We threw him in the background.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. No, so yeah, talking to you, and then in the comics itself, you have a love of comics, and like that always makes for a good comic. I think you're not just like slapping this together as like another project. It really feels like, I think I really do respect the fact that like, even though you're a screenwriter, you're not even thinking of adapting this. Like, that's not even on your mind. It's like the focus is making it a comic. And I think that adds to what makes the story so strong, because I think, again, I would want to point out Ismael's art. Like, it's just so perfect for the story. It makes everything when it needs to feel like horror, it feels like a horror. But when it's just almost like slice of life, like when it's not, yeah, I'm calling it slice of life, but like even though there's a ghost floating around with a little kid, but like they're going into like a police station and just dealing with things that you don't need any supernatural elements to deal with. I like the fact that we don't, like you're saying, we don't have all the answers yet. Like we don't know what happened to Andy's parents yet. I think that's really cool. We get these small hints, like we know that he's not crazy. We know that something happened. We know that he has a knack for stumbling onto these things. I think he's a great character. He doesn't feel like a stupid kid. He doesn't feel like an adult in a kid's body, let's say. It just feels, it works really well.
My favorite comics are the ones where they sprinkle like a little something early on, and then it doesn't come back for 10 issues. I wish I wish in a perfect world, this first arc would have been like 10 issues or whatever, but maybe it wouldn't have been as good of a series had I stretched it out. But like, I love doing that. Like, I will tell you this, that character at the end of issue 5, that final page actually that makes a cameo in the first issue. Like even stuff like that. I just I love doing that, like, I know Stan Lee would do it. Jeff Johns is a master of it, where it's like, he brings up something in like, say issue 5. And then in issue 15, you're like, oh man, that's who it is. Like he's been building, if you're reading any of those Ghost Machine books, he's just been, especially Redcoat, he just throws things in and you're like, when is this character coming? Like he brought it up in issue 1 or, in another book. And then all of a sudden you're on issue 12 and you're like, oh, there's the character. I love that. To me, that's what's best about comics. Like they do it so well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think even, the format of a trade or a hardcover, like I could flip back and forth and, catch those. It's harder to do in a book. You have to rewind in a movie. Comics is very unique.
Exactly.
I could just, jump back to a point in time in like a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And again, just proving the point again that this was made for a comic and like you're very aware of that and you designed it that way. So props to you, Mike, for sure.
Thank you. You guys are just making me feel so good. Just keep going.
I really think and you were talking about reading a lot of indie comics, and I think there's a lot of great indie comics out there. There's a lot of great stuff from the big two, but like, you could find so many niche stories and things that are different in indie comics, like just throwing this out there beneath the trees where nobody sees, like who is expecting that, something like that. And I think Armored stands out in its own way. There's not a lot of books out there like Armored, and
truly,
I think that helps it,
Yeah, this is unlike anything I've read recently, and I mean that in a great way.
Yeah.
That's great.
Very unique. And there's just something that happens when, an art is created by somebody who wanted to make it because they're a fan of the art form. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. And I gotta give Ishmael credit too. Like the guy is so good at sequential storytelling. Like it's so clear. Like and I think I mentioned at the beginning, rereading like an old script, and I had like 5 panels, and he made it 3. Let's say, like just he just knows the story will be told perfectly in 3. Like he can ignore my 2 other extra panels or whatnot. Like he's really, really good at that. And you mentioned it, like when the characters are just hanging out in the library looking up books, there's so much going on in their faces.
Yeah.
And he really brings these characters to life.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is, like I said, one of the best comics of 2024. So with this hardcover collected edition on Kickstarter, I'm assuming that's the only way people are ever going to get a chance to get the hardcover version.
They might it will likely be available in shops and stuff. But
nice.
What's great about this is you can get like this David Mack's. So issue 4 of Armored sold out across distributors. So Lunar and Diamond sold out completely of that. So I think there was a lot of people buying the book because of this artwork and checking it out, being like, what's this? I'm going to grab it. It's David Mack cover. And
that is an amazing cover for sure.
So they've made a Kickstarter exclusive dust jacket. That's the only place you're going to be able to get. You won't be able to find that in stores. The book will likely be in stores. So, if you want to wait, the best thing you could do is back the Kickstarter, because that way, it's just, I don't know how to put this. Buy it however you can. I don't care how you buy it. Buy a PDF, whatever. I just want people to read it right now more than anything. But yeah, like the Kickstarter route's really cool because there's so many exclusive things. Like you can get an advanced copy of issue 6, so you can get a jump on the story. We're doing a set of trading cards, which I'm really excited about because I collected trading cards as a kid.
Oh yeah, I saw those. Yeah,
and those will be that'll be a lot of fun. They're making them look like the old Marvel masterpieces.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay, maybe I have to add that to my pledge.
Oh yeah, you got it. And it's only going to be available there. And I'm like, wow, these are going to be super limited. I think we'll probably only print whatever people purchase, right? Like maybe I'll purchase some for cons and stuff, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I totally, I get the sentiment. Like all you want is for people to read your comic, but I think Kickstarter is the best way to support indie dudes, putting out their stuff.
It is.
Yeah, you could buy it in the store. I'm sure. I mean, I wouldn't care if I had my book on Amazon and people bought it if that's the way they have to read it. But like Kickstarter is like pure grassroots. Like it's right there. I feel like that's the way to do it. And like you're saying, there's so many cool exclusives.
It's the best way to also show the publisher that there is like a desire for this book, right? Yeah. Like it's to really show them like, get this book out there, like it's not even about the money. It's like about the amount of backers. Like to me, it's like, oh, how many can we get reading this thing? I want people to read it. I'm even like, if you can pirate it, go read it. I don't care. But then go buy it maybe.
But then also just to emphasize your hustle, like even earlier, like I know you like go on a lot of podcasts, but I was like, let me just YouTube Michael Schwartz Armored. I couldn't stop. It was just going and going and going. You have made so many, and I mean this as a good thing. That's, like you're putting the work out there to let people know like, hey, I have this comic. I think even myself, I try to get on podcasts. It was hard for one reason or another, right? But like you got on a lot, and like I think there's no better way to spread the word, like. Do you even know how many you were on? Like it's gotta be upwards of like 50 or something by this point.
I don't anymore, because sometimes people reach out to me. Sometimes, I may have reached out to you even, because I just was like a fan of you guys, and like Tony, there was a lot of back and forth on Twitter between us back in the day. Like I was just reaching out to people I liked. I was like, I want to talk to this person. It wasn't even about talking to you. I, more than anything, wanted you to read it. I had nothing. It wasn't even about the podcast. It was more like, can this cool guy read it? And if he likes it, that would be amazing. That was my goal. Can I get people to read it? And luckily, once people read issue 1, they seem to want to read issue 2.
Oh, easy. It was one of those books that, like, I read it in a single sitting. I was like, once I started it, I was like, oh, this is just going to be an afternoon with coffee now. And you know what I mean?
My absolute favorite thing at a con is when a kid comes to the table, because I usually put out like No Malone posters, and so kids will come by. And they'll be like, I want all 5 issues to their mom or dad. And then the kid, kids get bored at conventions. So they'll sit by a pole and read. And like the parent will be like, you can have issue 1. That's it. And so they'll buy their kid issue 1. And then like an hour later, they're like, he read it at lunch and he wants number 2. And then they buy 2. And I'm like, you want to just get the set? I'll give you a deal. And they're like, no, just issue 2. And then they come back for the rest of them. And it's so funny. It happens every single con I've done. Yeah. And then the parents end up reading it too, which I love, because the parents seem to like it. So
no, it's definitely one of those books that like it has crossed like generational appeal, but it also like it doesn't feel, there's sometimes you see like a movie or something like that it's like we're gonna insert like the stuff that I think appeals to adults just like appeal to adults because it has heart. It's not like you're like slipping like corny innuendo or something, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel forced, like the appeal.
Cool. That's good. That's good.
I mean, yeah, it just feels real. Like I was saying that before, like, like you're dealing with like Andy and the whole story, really, it's all about loss. A lot of it is loss. And like that's real. I don't know if like younger people, I mean, I'm sure plenty of younger people have experienced loss, but I think it's a more mature theme in that way, and the way Cody's saying cross-generational, that as an adult it could be like, yeah, you know, like the way you handle that in the setting of this story it's magic, dude. It just works really well.
Quoting you, putting that down. It's magic.
No, I really stand behind this book. Everyone listening, I do urge you to back the Kickstarter. But like Mike was saying, read this any way you can, because it's a great comic. It's a great story.
And do you know what's awesome? Actually, if anyone like listening and they're like unsure, Comics Beat actually has the whole first issue up on their site to read.
Oh, awesome. There you
Hell
go.
yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things. They I don't know how it happened. It happened through Clover. So you can just like Google Comics Beat and Armored, and I think it'll come up. They have the whole first issue up.
Dude, well, listeners, if you've been, definitely check it out. I mean, the art alone, like, don't get me wrong, everything is good, but the art is so unique. I was really like from page one, I was like, oh, I have to read all of this. And then the story just like hooked me the rest of the way, you know?
And we're definitely we're talking about doing an episode to go along with this, that we're just gonna, you know, do our own review of the comic, give it the Pesci
that's
score.
awesome.
I'll give you the spoiler right away. I think I told you last year what I thought of the first issue. I gave it the 6 Pescis. You know, might have a similar score for the whole volume. You got to listen to the episode to find out.
Okay. I will indeed.
Well, I think we could definitely get more spoilery in that too. So, you know, if you guys need more details about the book, we'll tell you there. But I really like this talk. I think we should stop here. Is there anything else you want to tell anyone about the Kickstarter itself? Also, you know, plug whatever you need to, where anyone could find you on social media. Have at it.
Do you have any other projects that you're really proud of that you want people to know about?
Honestly, the big one is the next book that I've been telling you guys about, that I've been dropping all that info on. That'll be, so Clover's going to release it. It'll be kickstarted in November.
Awesome.
So I'm really excited about that. That's probably the one that I'm most excited about. I'm sure there's other things, but I'm so tired I can't remember anything right now. And you know, with the Kickstarter, just I love the cards. I want as many people to have Armored trading cards as possible. I think it's hilarious.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's good. Thank you so much, guys. Like, I appreciate helping get the word out. Like, for indie books in particular, it's hard. It's there's no money in comics. Like, there really isn't. It's really passion.
Sure.
And Tony can speak to that. Like, I'm sure you have. Have you at all like talked about, like, it really is just something you do because you're passionate about it and you want to tell the story.
Of course, yeah.
No one is going into comics being like, I can't wait to become rich.
Oh, trust me, buddy. I get it. I completely understand.
Yeah, Cody's a stand-up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're in the same.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. I have to have a real job to pay for my, passion job.
Hey, I have, that's the same. Like my job, my day job was working in VFX, and that has dried up, and now I'm going to work in like marketing and stuff. So I'm the same. I have a day job as well. That's how we got to, you know.
Yeah, no, same here. I'm in IT. You know, all day I'm just thinking of like when I have my free time, I'm gonna work, or you know, sometimes at work they don't need to know I'm working on something in a Google Doc. You know, like I feel like that's the only way to survive. Like if you're creative, like you need to make something. You need to. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your pocket. It doesn't matter who's reading it or how many people are reading it. Like that's not why we make this stuff. And like I think people that don't make stuff can't understand that. Like people that use AI all the time, I don't think they could understand the point of making something, which is there's not really a point. You just have to kind of make it. You kind of have the urge or you don't.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I couldn't imagine doing stand-up. You have to have that urge.
Yeah.
Like that
is. All right, Mike, thanks so much for coming on. You're invited anytime.
Dude, that was awesome.
November, before that, whenever. We'll talk about more of your comics.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, everyone needs to grab issue 6. I'm telling you, you got to grab it. If you decide to get the hardcover, grab issue 6 at the bare minimum. It's $6. It's basically the cost of buying an issue now at the shop. But I highly recommend it because you'll see where the series is going even more. It's a lot of fun. And if you're curious about any of my other stuff, you can just look me up on Instagram at Mike Schwartz Writes, or on any of the other platforms. I think I'm the Mike Schwartz. So yeah. And listen to Wizards, the podcast guide to comics, if you're into Wizard Magazine and want to hear some history about comic books. So yeah.
Hell
it's a
yeah.
great show. Like you said before, I was on an episode. It's a fun time. I love the format. If you're a Wizard fan, seriously, like get the issue they're talking about, and they go through it, and it's a good time. Like
What episode were you on? Was it like a Wolverine one, or was it?
Yeah, it was Wolverine.
Wolverine.
We talked about Wolverine the whole episode,
So look for the Wolverine episode with Tony on it. Yeah.
All right, Mike, thanks for coming by. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, you're listening to Comics and Chronic, and I'm Jacob H.
I'm Cody Cannon.
And I'm Anthony Iannaccio.
And you can tune in every Thursday to hear new episodes of Comics and Chronic.
And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Comics and Chronic. That's Comics, the letter N, Chronic.
We'll see you guys next week.
Woo!
Peace.